Verse 6. So Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked about his wife. And he said, She is my sister. For he was afraid to say, She is my wife, because he thought, Lest the men of the place kill me for Rebekah, because she is beautiful to behold. Now it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window and saw, and there was Isaac showing endearment to Rebekah, his wife. Then Abimelech called Isaac and said, Quite obviously she is your wife. So how could you say she is my sister? Isaac said to him, Because I said, Lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people might have soon lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. So Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He who touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Well, the apple didn't fall far from the tree on that one there.
It really hasn't, has it?
You know, and so apparently Rebecca is a very beautiful woman also, like his mother was. And, you know, it's showing the same thing with Abraham. He got this fear inside him. Instead of trusting God, he went his own route, which messes things up. And, you know, thought for sure that they were going to kill him to have his wife. And we had talked about this earlier, about Abimelech, when with Abraham, stated that he was about to lay with his wife. But in here, it states that Abimelech said that one of my men, or he said people, but I'm sure he meant men, would have laid with your wife. He didn't say himself. And also, and I didn't catch this till I just read it a minute ago, well, I'm going to find it here. Oh, and the men, well, verse 7, and the men of the place asked about his wife. So it wasn't that the king wasn't asking about her. It was the men of the place there. And then the king also stated, one of my men, you know, and so the odd thing on this is when Abraham did this, God spoke to Abimelech directly and said, you need to stop. But in here, God didn't speak to Abimelech on this matter. Abimelech just seen them on the outside. Well, looking through a window and finding out that he's probably caressing her in ways that shouldn't be caressed by his brother and sister. Okay, just to keep it, you know, somewhat clean. So, you know, and again, Abimelech is warning his people: you touch any of either one of these, y'all are dead. So he has been separated from Rebecca different than he was with Sarah, because he's interested in Sarah. Doesn't mention anything about being interested in Rebecca.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier while we're talking offline. That's one sign of. That's one aspect that explains the difference in translation between the Art Scroll and the New King James Version. Because the New King James Version in verse 8, it says, now it came to pass when he had been there a long time that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked through a window. And in the Art Scroll, it says, and it came to pass as his days there lengthened, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, gazed down through the window and saw. And what's that word that I just used earlier?
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity. Thanks. Words are hard today, y'all. Ambiguity, right? There's a level of ambiguity in the Hebrew. Is the he that he's referring to Isaac, or is it Abimelech? And it could go both ways. So both translations would be correct. But I like the R Scroll translation here better because it explains how Abimelech is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, 60 years ago, Abimelech was king when Abraham was living there,
Mm-hmm.
and Isaac was about to be born. Isaac's now 60 years old. Well, it's been 60 years, and he was already a grown man. He was a whole man when Abraham was first in the land. So he has to be somewhere around 100 years old by now. And admittedly, that's not a common thing for people in that era. Yes, we see the patriarchs living long,
Mm-hmm.
and we see the generation right before the flood living very long, if that was indeed their age or if it was some other thing that people, including myself, have theorized. Either way, we see longevities well exceeding what we would consider normal and common, but we don't see that after the flood in non-Abrahamic people. So, you know, it's interesting seeing Abimelech living that long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so 60 years later, and like you said, there's so much similarity between Isaac and Abraham. He really didn't fall far from the tree, but it's different. And your choice of word there, caress, is fortunate because that's actually what the Hebrew says. He saw him caressing Rebecca. I take that to meaning the way a teenager would grab hold of his girlfriend's face or his, fiance's face and
Mm-hmm.
just stroke her cheek, looking at her with googly eyes. But only God knows the reality of that. But he sees, and this time he's like, before it even gets to the point. And like you said, he's not even interested because he's older than dirt at this point.
Yeah.
He's not interested in relations